Welcome back to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. We continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Book 1, Discourse 10, Sri Krishna's departure to Dwaraka. Saunaka said, having got rid of the ruffians who sought to rob him of his lawful heritage, how did Yudhishthira, the foremost of pious rulers, proceed to rule his kingdom with his younger brothers, and what did he accomplish later, averse as he was to the gratification of his senses? Suta continued, having revived the race of Kuru that had been consumed by the fire of internecine feud, even as the wildfire produced by rubbing of the bamboo stems against one another consumes the whole forest of the bamboos, and established Yudhishthira on his throne, the almighty Sri Hari, the promoter of world, rejoiced at heart. Having shaken off his infatuation by force of wisdom and that had drawn on him as a result of his hearing of the teachings of Bhishma and the exasperation of Lord Achyuta, Yudhishthira ruled over the whole earth, stretching as far as the ocean, like Indra, the Lord of Paradise, enjoying as he did the protection of Sri Krishna, the invincible Lord, and the loyal submission of his younger brothers. The god of rain poured down copious showers, the earth yielded all that was desired, while cows that had large udders gladly sprinkled stalls with milk. Rivers, seas, mountains, trees, creepers, and other herbs and plants all bore him abundant products in due season. Living beings had no worries or physical ailments nor afflictions of any kind, whether brought by the wrathful providence, any fellow being, or by one's own self in the form of bodily or mental sufferings at any time whatsoever, so long as Yudhishthira, who regarded none as enemy, reigned as king. After spending some months at Hastinapura for the consolation of his friends and relatives, as well as for the satisfaction of his sister Subhadra, wife of Arjuna, Srihari asked leave of King Yudhishthira to return home, and, permitted by him, he embraced him and bowed to him, and embraced or greeted in turn by others who were of the same age or younger, mounted his chariot. Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, and Uttara, the daughter of King Virata, and even so Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsa, the only surviving son of Dhritarashtra, born of Vaishya wife, Kripacharya, born in the line of sage Gotama, Nakula and Sahadeva, the twin half-brothers of Yudhishthira, Bhimasena and Dhaumya, and Satyavati, Bhishma's stepmother, and other ladies almost fainted with sorrow, unable to bear separation from the Lord who wielded the Saranga bow. A wise man who has abjured evil company through the fellowship of saints cannot even afford to forego the privilege of listening to his sweet praise being sung by others, having once had the opportunity to hear them. How then could the Pandavas, the son of Pritha, bear the separation from the Lord on whom they had bestowed their minds and heart, having had the privilege of not only seeing him at close quarters, touching his person, and conversing with him, but also of reposing, sitting, and dining with him, regarding him with unwinking eyes, bound as they were by the ties of affection to him, they all hurried to and fro to fetch parting presents to him, their hearts running after him. As Sri Krishna, son of Devaki, was about to depart from the palace, the ladies who were bound to him by ties of kinsmen restrained their tears of affection from trickling down, anxious as they were, lest any harm might come to him, though such shedding of tears, which is regarded as unpropitious at the time of parting from a beloved friend or relation. Tarbors, conches, kettle drums, lutes, cymbals, trumpets, dundhuris, drums, gongs, and other musical instruments sounded, as also the dundhubis, the other type of big drums. Going up to the top of their mansion in order to have a look at Sri Krishna, the ladies of the Kuru race rained flowers on him, greeting him with smiling looks, though mingled feelings of affection and bashfulness. The thick-haired Arjuna, the favorite of Sri Krishna, held over him his most beloved friend, his white umbrella, which was bordered with strings of pearls and had a handle of precious stones, while Uddhava and Satyaki held a pair of the most wonderful chauris. Greeted with the shower of flowers on the way, Sri Krishna, the Lord of Madhus, shone brilliantly. Everywhere were heard true benedictions pronounced by the Brahmanas, which were unsuited to the Lord as viewed in his unqualified or absolute aspect, but were quite appropriate to him in his qualified or personal form. Then began a talk which ravished the ears and hearts of all among the women of Hastinapura, the capital of Lord of Kurus, who had riveted their heart on Sri Krishna of excellent renown. Verily, he is the same eternal person who abides in his singular, undifferentiated self, even during the night of the universal dissolution prior to the manifestation of the three gunas of mode of Prakriti, when the individual souls retire into God, the universal spirit, and when all forces of creations, the Mahat and its evolutes too, lie dormant in the unmanifest. It was he who was with the intention of endowing with a form and a name the spirit who has neither then inspired in his Prakriti, which deludes the jivas who are identical in essence with him, and which, impelled by his own energy, the time spirit is disposed to create and revealed the Vedas and other scriptures. Indeed, he is the same Supreme Spirit whose reality in this world is perceived by seers who have subdued their senses and fully controlled their breath, with a mind yearning for his sight and cleansed of all impurities through devotion. For it is he alone who can thoroughly cleanse our hearts, which cannot be so purified by any other means such as yoga. Again, O friend, he is the same Supreme Lord whose sacred stories have been sung again and again in the Vedas and other esoteric scriptures by seers like Maharshi Vyasa, that have expounded profound truths, and who, in his own sportful ways, creates, maintains, and reabsorbs the universe all by himself without any material, and yet does not set attached to the same. Whenever kings whose intellect is clouded by tamas or ignorance live by unrighteousness, verily it is he who by recourse to the quality of pure sattva or goodness reveals in himself the divine attributes of omnipotence, etc., as well as the truthfulness, righteousness, compassion, and superhuman activity, and assumes various forms from age to age for the good of the world. Oh, how supremely praiseworthy is the race of Yadu that has been honored by his supreme person, the Lord of Sri, the goddess of prosperity, through his descent therein. And oh, how supremely sacred is the forest associated with the name of the demon Madhu, the area of Vraja near about the city of Mathura, that has been graced by him through his ramblings. The city of Kusasthali or Dwaraka overshadows the fame of heaven and brings merit and renown to the earth by its association, for the people of that city always behold their Lord Sri Krishna casting his smiling looks on them whenever he graciously moves out of his palace. Surely God Almighty, who is no other than Sri Krishna, must have been thoroughly propitiated in some previous birth through fast, oblations in sacred water, oblations of sacred fire, by the ladies whose hand has been expounded by him is that they constantly drink, O friend, the nectar from his lips, the very thought of which maddened the women of Vraja. Oh, how blessed are his 8 principal consorts, Rukmini, who gave birth to Pradyumna, Jambavati, the mother of Samba, and Nagajiti, who bore Amba, and so on, who were carried off as prizes of valor at an assembly of suitors after vanquishing powerful princes like Sisupala, the king of Chedi, and those others who were brought in thousands after slaying the demon Naraka, the son of goddess Earth. These women have brought sanctity to and exalted womanhood, which has been allowed freedom, which has not been allowed freedom and is wanting in purity. Inasmuch as their lotus-eyed Lord, whoever delights their heart by his charming behaviors and loving presence, like the celestial trees of Parijata, and never moves out of their mansions even for a moment. While the women folks of Hastinapura were uttering such words, Sri Hari, Sri Krishna, went his way, greeting them by his smiling looks. Apprehending danger from his foes, King Yudhishthira dispatched out of sheer affection an army consisting of all 4 limbs, namely elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers, to serve as an escort for Sri Krishna, the slayer of the demon Madhu. Sri Krishna, the grandson of Surasena, now sent back the Pandavas, the descendants of Kuru, who have been strongly attached to him, had come very far, distressed as thought of separation from him. He then departed for his own city Dwaraka with his favorite companion Uddhava, Satyaki, and others. Passing through the territories of Kuru Jangala, Panchala, Surasena, Mathura, and the track stretching along the banks of Yamuna, as well as Barhamavati and Kurukshetra, the kingdoms of Matsya, Saraswata, the territory stretching along the banks of Saraswati, and Marudhwaja, the Lord reached the kingdom of Anartha, Gujarat, lying beyond the principalities of Sauvira and Abhira. O Saunaka, his horses being a bit exhausted at that time, in every part of the country he passed through, the people residing there honored Sri Krishna with presents of various kinds. At dusk, he would alight from his car and, repairing to some lake, say his Sandhya prayers. Thus ends the 10th discourse entitled Sri Krishna's Return to Dwaraka, forming part of the story relating to Naimisha forest in Book 1 of great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as Paramahamsa Samhita. Thank you.